The Epstein heat has been turned up and Donald Trump is cooking as 30,000 documents have been dropped today. And one in particular from the FBI mentions Epstein, prostitutes, and a Mar-a-Lago Trump party. And I have all the seedy and sensational details for you next. I'm Dan and welcome to another Occupy Democrats report. To get all of our updates on the spiral that is Donald Trump's presidency, be sure and hit that subscribe button. Let's begin with a breaking news video from Scripps that captures the media feeding frenzy that is currently happening over the Epstein document dump, inclusive of generous mentions of Trump and Mar-a-Lago. And be sure and stick around because on the other side, I'll share the tip the FBI received about some alleged serious sleaze that was happening in South Florida between the two men.
The Justice Department released thousands more photos and documents from the Jeffrey Epstein files this morning. And this latest batch includes over 11,000 files, including some mentioning President Trump. Scripps News senior national investigative correspondent Lori Jane Gliha is live in Denver. And Lori Jane, you have once again been going through upwards of 30,000 documents. What have you found so far in the few hours that you've had?
Well, Holly, when they released these records, the Justice Department also issued a statement on X saying some of these documents contain untrue and sensationalist claims made against President Trump that were submitted to the FBI right before the 2020 election. We did find those tips, but also some other notable documents, of course, with lots of redactions that have caused many to question why certain names continue to be blacked out, especially if the redactions don't seem to align with the requirements of this transparency law. One of the notable documents buried in these records was an email. Although most of the names are redacted, we can see that the note is dated in January of 2020 and is signed by an assistant U.S. attorney in the Southern District of New York. The subject line says Epstein flight records, and the body of the email suggests Donald Trump had traveled with Epstein more times than this author of this email had initially known. And it says he is listed as a passenger on at least 8 flights between 1993 and 1996, including at least 4 flights on which Maxwell was also present. That seems to reference Ghislaine Maxwell, the longtime girlfriend and now convicted affiliate of Jeffrey Epstein. However, the email also indicates this person believed Trump had traveled with his wife and daughter and son a few times, but also alone with Epstein and on at least 1 flight with Epstein and a 20-year-old person. One more notable document in our early review of these records includes a document labeled Court Subpoena that's addressed to the Mar-a-Lago Club in Palm Beach, Florida, which of course is Donald Trump's luxury club property. It is requesting an appearance at a hearing related to Ghislaine Maxwell's sex abuse case, and it requests employment records related to a person whose name is redacted. We do know an Epstein accuser said she once worked at that club, but we cannot confirm her name is the name that was redacted. Now, these are just a few of the records we've examined so far, Holly. There are also legal complaints, records related to the correctional center where Jeffrey Epstein was housed and died, and many other legal records that we've seen as well, and emails as well.
What you're about to hear is a tip that the FBI received, and we don't know if it was followed up on. It is alleged, so I'll let you decide for yourself if it helps you make a more informed decision about what went on between the former best friends who shared a wonderful secret. The FBI report, dated October 9th, 2020, pertains to a call made to the FBI National Threat Operations Center to report information about a Jeffrey Epstein party. It reads, name redacted, met Lisa Villeneuve at hospital where they were roommates in 2000. Villeneuve now goes by Ghislaine Lisa Villeneuve and sells real estate in Irving, California. After name redacted and Villeneuve left the hospital, they remained friends. Later that year in 2000, around Christmas time, Villeneuve invited name redacted to a party on Palm Beach Island, Florida. Name redacted believes the house belonged to Epstein. Before the part, Villeneuve took name redacted to meet Bobby Cox. Cox was a young man and introduced himself as a model scout. Villeneuve laughed in response to Cox's introduction and said, "No, you're a pimp." Villeneuve, Cox, and name redacted then went to the party. They entered the property through the backyard, and Villeneuve said she would go inside to speak with the hostess, which believes was Ghislaine Maxwell. When Villeneuve took name redacted inside and Villeneuve told name redacted to stay close and not go into any of the rooms, it continues. Villeneuve took name redacted to meet a man named Kurt Schmidt, who is currently the CEO of Blue Buffalo. When Villeneuve and name redacted approached Schmidt, he asked Villeneuve if name redacted was cool. Name redacted stated she was cool. Schmidt said no, he meant cocaine. Villeneuve took name redacted back inside, and someone told the party that Donald Trump had invited them all to a party at Mar-a-Lago. Name redacted told Villeneuve she wanted to go, but Villeneuve told it wasn't that kind of party, it was for prostitutes. It concludes, name redacted hasn't spoken to Ghislaine Maxwell since 2002. A 30,000-page document drop is great news in the case against the Epstein cabal of shady men. I didn't think we would see this day in consideration of the DOJ's bottomless bag of dirty tricks, but I still wonder, what is hiding under those redactions and what will never see the light of day? Now more than ever, based on that DOJ statement that said, among other things, some of these documents contain untrue and sensationalist claims that were made against President Trump that were submitted to the FBI right before the 2020 election. To be clear, the claims are unfounded and false, and if they had a shred of credibility, they certainly would have been weaponized against President Trump already. Clearly, our corrupt DOJ is acting more like Trump's personal attorneys than the nation's primary and impartial law enforcement agency, so the truth is in for a fight.